Hi, I'm Matthew Ashimolowo. Welcome to the Wealth Masterclass, where we teach you to make, manage, and multiply money. I tell you, today's teaching is going to be exciting. A matter of fact, I'm going to break it into series. So make sure you look out for part one, part two, as many parts as it goes into. But I guarantee you, it's going to be a fantastic one. At the Wealth Masterclass, we teach you to make money, to manage money, and then to multiply it. And today, as well as in this series, my teaching is going to focus on how to develop a millionaire mindset. A millionaire mindset. Because look, let me leave you with this thought from the beginning. Whatever you become, particularly in the area of finance, has a lot to do with your mind and your mouth. M&M. Your mind and your mouth. Or let's do T&T. Your think and your talk. Your think and your talk. Your mind and your mouth. So many people do not realize that if it's going to be, it's up to you. If it's going to be, it's up to you. Your mind, your thinking has a lot to do with where you are now and where you will be in the subsequent years to come. So you've got to learn how to form a clear mental picture of what you want, because you can only transmit an idea you have. Let us imagine the late Steve Jobs impressed upon his staff at Apple the need for a phone without a keyboard. At that time, BlackBerry dominated the world. But BlackBerry had a weakness. It had press buttons. And his staff thought, how can that be? A phone without a keyboard, or rather, keyboards which you press one at a time and sometimes it gets stuck. He wanted something which it practically is part of the electronics of it. And today, Apple becomes one of the dominating telephones in the world. It started as a thought until it became a reality. Your thoughts must have to affirm your desire for wealth creation, not a mere experience. The challenge for the poor is that, unlike the wealthy, poor people just want to touch money. They just want to experience wealth. They want to be able to say, I once knew wealth. But with the wealthy, they believe that they were created to handle wealth and to have it in abundance. So today I want you to know that God and you can make it happen. No one ever creates wealth or start the creative power of wealth creation by a mere spending time on ill-informed longing and vague desires. You know, when people want to create wealth, they do not realize that, look, you can't just have a longing for it or base your desire for wealth creation on ill-informed desires and ideas. You have to think. You know, as a man thinks, so is he. Have a clear mental picture of how you want to look when you have the wealth. It is part of your journey. Because you see, your think and your talk, your mind and your mouth shape your future. Just imagine somebody designed the shirt I'm wearing. They saw it in their mind. Probably it was an out of the regular kind of design, but they saw it and they went on to make it happen. In the same vein, you've got to learn how to see what you want, have a clear picture. Spend a lot of time contemplating the picture of the wealth you would like to create. The more clear and definite the picture of wealth creation is, the more you can achieve it because your desire then increases. If you spend time thinking in a particular area, you find your mind oscillating around it. Let me give you a test. Have you noticed every time you thought, I would like to buy a Toyota Corolla, that's the most popular Toyota on earth, you begin to notice Toyota Corollas everywhere. It's amazing. It was always there, but because your mind had not been taught to garner Toyota Corollas and look, you missed it. But the moment you begin to look out for Toyota Corollas, you see it everywhere. In fact, your hand also wants to now Google and search for Toyota Corolla. Same thing with wealth creation. If it's in your mind and in your mouth, you begin to see it and you begin to say it. You begin to see it, you begin to say it. The more clear and definite the picture is, the more likely your life moves in that direction. Your thought must be accompanied by an unwavering faith that the things are already yours. You just need to take possession of it. So if you begin to see it and say it, that one day I'm going to create wealth, I'm going to handle it, it is going to happen. In the holy book, the Bible, it says, whatsoever thing you desire. So there has to be a passion for it, a desire for it. In other words, you've got to see the things you want as if it's already around you for the reality of it to hit you. If you don't see it, you don't say it. And if you don't say it, you don't have it. It's amazing. Even in the poorest of nations, there is still wealth somewhere. While some people focus on the poverty, someone else focuses on the abundance. He sees the opportunity. Even in crisis, people see opportunities. I like you to imagine a refugee camp. 100,000 people displaced because of a civil war in their nation. And they have had to move out and create a refugee camp. The United Nations decides these refugees are human beings and they needed to be protected and given some care. Did you know that the United Nations will engage a company to provide water for these 100,000 refugees? Let us imagine that a bottle of water provides a special price. It's 50 cents. So that would be 50 cents bottle of water, 100,000 in the morning. Did you know what that comes to? That is $50,000 in the morning, $50,000 in the afternoon, and $50,000 in the evening, every day. And guess what? Do you know who pays for it? You and I. And you may be saying, how? Because our nations are member states of the United Nations and have to make yearly contribution. And the United Nations takes the money to take care of this refugee situation. I've not even talked about the food the refugees will eat. I've not talked about the company that will supply all the tents that these refugees will stay in. I've not talked about the company that will supply all the blankets that these refugees will stay in. Do you see how one person sees a crisis, some other person sees opportunities in every nation? Matter of fact, I might just be slightly controversial here by saying the United Nations has a presence on ground in the Democratic Republic of Congo since 1961. Because there has always been a refugee problem somewhere in that country. Whereas it is probably one of the wealthiest nations in the world, potentially, because it has the largest deposit of all the minerals in Africa. So how do you see things? see things you want as if it is already around you. And it will begin to be that your mind walks towards it and your hand begins to go towards it. Dwell in the mental picture you see. Hold on to the mental ownership of what you see. If you see wealth and you say, I'm going to be part of those whom this wealth will be theirs, then all the things we've been teaching at the Wealth Master class comes together. The principles of hard work, duty, changing your mind, the way you think, investment, now begins to work. Because you see, even if you are taught to invest, if your mindset have not changed, you will not. So you've got to learn to understand. If it's going to be, it's up to you, but your mind must see it. So don't waver. Change your mind, change your mouth, things will change. Change how you think, change how you talk, and things will begin to change. Then you've got to learn how to repeat the right thing. But repeated words are not enough. You hold the vision with unshakable sense of purpose, and that vision becomes a reality. You must see it. You see, your perception produces your reception. If you can't perceive it, you can't conceive it. If you don't conceive it, you won't believe it. If you don't believe it, you won't receive it. Let me go through again. It's a good alliteration for you. If you can't perceive, you can't conceive. If you don't conceive, you won't believe. If you don't believe, you won't receive. Or let me do it slightly different. If you can't perceive it, you can't believe. And if you don't believe, you won't conceive. And if you don't conceive, you won't receive. But if you can perceive it, then you begin to believe. And if you believe, then you begin to conceive it. You begin to carry it in the womb of your trust and your belief, in the womb of your ability to achieve everything around you. The television, the phone, the iPad, or laptop from where you're watching me was once a perception that became a belief. The belief became a conception, and the conception became a reality. The power to create wealth starts with thinking and talking it. You cannot spend your life, don't forget this. You can't spend your life studying poverty when your desire is riches. Honestly, from now on, you observe your television, most movies, most mini martinis knock wealth. Whereas the guys who produce these programs are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but they help us perpetuate a lie. They make us have an attitude towards wealth. So no one ever got rich by studying poverty and thinking about poverty. No one. No one ever increased and created wealth by studying poverty and thinking about poverty. So don't talk, don't investigate, or concern yourself with poverty. If anything, you can help people who are in a poor situation. But if you want to create wealth, in fact, you must start with this concept that poor can't help poor. Poor cannot help poor. It is when you've created wealth that you are able to help people.